Hello, and this is Medical Gateway. In this part, we're going to study regarding the types of the T cells. So, T lymphocytes. What are the types of T lymphocytes? So, T lymphocytes have basically three types: T helper cells, then we have cytotoxic T cells, and then we have suppressor T cells. So, let's first discuss the function of the cytotoxic T cells. So, cytotoxic T cells basically are cytotoxic, which means that they are the main T cells which are going to do the killing job. So they basically kill the invaders. And how they are going to kill the invaders? They kill the invaders by secreting perforins. Now, these perforins will form pores or holes in the membrane of the foreign body. So these perforins are basically the hole forming proteins. Then these cytotoxic T cells secrete these cytotoxic substances. And then these T cells will destroy the cancer cells and also the transplanted organs. Basically, they will attack any cancerous cell or any foreign body. Okay? But when they are forming the perforins, which are hole-forming proteins, forming the holes in the membranes of the foreign bodies, and when they're secreting the cytotoxic substances, when they're destroying the cancerous cells and attacking the transplanted organs, along with all these, they are also lethal to the invaded tissue. For instance, if some organ in the body is being invaded by some foreign antigen, when the cytotoxic T cells attack the foreign bodies at that point, at that tissue, it will kill the foreign body. But along with killing the foreign body, they also cause some damage to the tissue where the foreign body was present. So they are also lethal to the invaded tissue. So basically, the cytotoxic T cells are doing the killing job. Okay, and then we have suppressor T cells. Suppressor T cells will suppress the function of the cytotoxic T cells. So one T cell is doing the killing, and the other T cell is suppressing them so that the killing doesn't go too much. Okay? So the suppressor T cells just keeps a check on cytotoxic T cells. Okay? And then we have the helper T cells. The most important type of the T cell is the helper T cells. Why? Because helper T cells are the one which are going to help the other two types of T cells, the cytotoxic T cells, the suppressor T cells, and they are also going to help the B lymphocytes, the B cells. And also the helper cells are going to help the macrophages. Now just imagine, in the whole immunity story, there are two types of lymphocytes, B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. And helper cells is helping both the T lymphocytes and the B lymphocytes. And then we have the macrophages, who is going to bring the antigen to the T cells. The macrophages. The macrophages will eat the antigen, and they then will bring the antigen to the B lymphocytes and the T lymphocytes, and T lymphocytes will form the activated T lymphocytes, and B cells will form the antibodies. So basically, helper T cells are helping each step of the immunity. So they are extremely important. So helper T cells basically help everything. They help cytotoxic T cells, they help suppressor T cells, they help B lymphocytes, they help macrophages. And how do they help? They help by lymphokines or interleukins. Now, leukins is from leukocytes, and leukocytes are white blood cells. So leukins is from leukocytes, and interleukins is like something which is acting is released from one lymphocyte and is acting to the other lymphocyte, or something which is acting between the leukins or leukocytes. Okay, so that's why lymphokines are also known as interleukins. Okay, and then we have cytotoxic, which does the killing, and then we have suppressor, which will suppress the function of everything. This will help everything. See, this will kill everything, and suppressor will suppress everything. It will suppress the helper cell as well as the cytotoxic T cells. Now, I have mentioned that T helper cells are the most important. And why are these most important? because of AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. What is the problem in AIDS? So, if a person is having an HIV infection, and that HIV infection, if stays for long, will result into a condition known as acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. What exactly is happening in AIDS? In AIDS, there is decrease in number of T helper cells. That's it. There is no other problem. And when the T helper cells are decreased, it will result into decrease in the function of every single thing. The macrophages, the B cells, the cytotoxic T cells, the suppressor T cells, everything is not being held by helper T cells. And when they're not being held by helper T cells, then it is a big thing. Then any foreign body, any infection can be turned into a lethal infection. So that's why T helper cells are the most important. Okay? Now let's discuss in the form of flow chart made in the Guyton, which is a pretty good one. So this is the diagram of the Guyton. I have highlighted few points. So in this diagram, these ones, the dark bluish ones, are the T cells. This one is the helper T cell. This one is the cytotoxic T cell. This one is the suppressor T cell. Now this yellow one is the B cell, B lymphocyte, which is producing this green one, plasma cells. And the plasma cells are then producing the antibodies. And antibodies are the IgM, IgG, IgA, IgE. Okay? And what is this? This is the preprocessor area. And here it is, I think, so the antigen presenting cell presenting the antigen to the helper T cell. Now, how basically helper T cell is going to help everyone? This is the helper T cell. When this antigen comes, and is presented to the helper T cell. Now, what this helper T cell is going to do? Helper T cell is going to form the lymphokines, the great lymphokines. These lymphokines are also known as interleukins. Interleukins is abbreviated as IL. So, T helper cells are going to produce lymphokines, and lymphokines are interleukins, and interleukin is IL. So, there are many types of lymphokines, interleukin 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we are going just to talk about interleukin 1, interleukin 2, and interleukin 4, 5, and 6. So the first one is the interleukin 2. The helper T cells, when exposed to the antigen, will produce lymphokines, interleukins. So first one is the interleukin 2. So interleukin 2 is the one which is going to enhance the function of all the T cells, all the T lymphocytes, including the cytotoxic T cell, the suppressor T cell, and the helper T cell itself. So this interleukin 2 will be produced by helper T cells. This is going to enhance the functions of cytotoxic T cells. This is going to help the suppressor T cells, and this is going to help the helper T cells itself. So interleukin 2 here, interleukin 2 here, and interleukin 2 here. Okay. Then we have interleukin 4, 5, and 6. Where is interleukin 3? I don't know. So, interleukin 4, 5, and 6. So, these interleukin 4, 5, and 6 will go to B lymphocytes and will enhance the function of the B lymphocytes, will help the B lymphocytes in their proliferation, in their differentiation, and blah, blah. Okay? And then these B lymphocytes will give rise to plasma cells, and plasma cells will give rise to antibodies, and then antibodies will attack the foreign invaders by direct mechanism and by activating the complement system. So this diagram sums up pretty much a lot of things. And then, interestingly, these lymphokines will go and act on the pre-processing area. Okay? And now we have left with one interleukin. This pre-processing area is sending an interleukin 1, which is helping the helper T cells. Okay, so the story is pretty simple, that everything will operate by the help of helper T cells, and so the whole story starts with the helper T cells, which are decreasing AIDS. So the antigen is presented to helper T cells will give rise to interleukin 2. Interleukin 2 will enhance the function of all the T cells, including helper T cell, cytotoxic T cell, and suppressed T cell. Then we have an interleukin 4, 5, and 6, which will help B cells. And then we have interleukin 1, which is coming from the preprocessor area and is basically enhancing or helping the function of the helper T cells. Okay, so these are the types of the T cells, 3 types, and we just can also include a 4th type, which is memory T cells. Okay, as discussed, as they are the memory cells of the B lymphocytes, exactly same they are the memory cells of the D lymphocytes. Okay, so this is it. So these were the types of the T cells, a very important, very interesting topic, especially with reference to AIDS and T helper cells. Okay, so this is it. See you in next part.